Thanks for tuning into the Adam Carolla Show. You can watch the full show on YouTube. Just search Adam Carolla Show and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also get the podcast wherever you like to listen. And for extra content, ad-free episodes, and more, you can head over to our Substack and sign up today. Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. The choice begin on mandates. You get it on. Welcome to the show. Thanks for telling a friend. Thanks for sharing the good news. Spencer Pratt in the studio. I think I've been following you for a while now. And at first I was a little skeptical. I was like, well, what's this reality star got to say about stuff? And then I kind of went, well, that does make sense. And then I was like, that does make sense. And now it's kind of coming together. And I think people are realizing you're substantial and legitimate.
Yeah, thankfully, when you run on common sense, it's pretty simple to get people excited. And at the end of the day, what everybody wants is to feel safe. They want their tax money to not be not only stolen, but then used to increase not feeling safe and to increase problems. So I'm not over here trying to, I don't have this utopia, the custom idea that I'm going to sell you on. And I just want the LA that I grew up back.
Yes.
That we can get back. So that's resonating. And truly, I'm going to win the election I truly believe off of moms. Because I get thousands of messages a day from moms that are sick of seeing drug addict zombies naked on the sidewalk, running in front of their cars when they're taking their kids to school. And,
yes.
And they're going to show up and vote. And that's what the ops and the people that have been controlling this don't understand how angry the normal tax-paying citizen is.
Well, it's funny because I think folks on the left have this thing where it's like, oh, the Republicans, all they want is totalitarian dictators. Like, all we want is normal and to be left alone. Like, we just want basic, normal stuff. No one's asking for anything exotic, just basic. All we're doing is saying, could we build a time machine and go back to 1997? That's all we're saying.
Yeah, like I posted Bill Clinton's Democratic Committee 1996 convention, and it looks like it's what I'm running on right now. And that's the reality. All the laws that I want to enforce as mayor, they're all Democrat laws. They were all voted by Democrats. I'm from Pacific Palisades. I went to Crossroads. I keep telling people, I don't know if I've met that many Republicans. All the people I know, family, friends, they're all Democrats. I'm not over here fighting for anybody except for citizens that want their lives back. They've been stolen, and a lot of it's because of Democrats got fooled by the DSA. I talked to so many smart people that have no idea what the DSA is, and they think, oh, Democratic Socialists of America, and they have all this lingo, and they fool. When you go look at their website, that's not a Democrat. And they trick the average voter into believing these progressive care. They say the word care, take care, compassion. Right. And they're all lies.
It's all euphemistic.
It's all lies.
Well, first off, all their stuff has a bullshit title to it because they have to make up a euphemistic title for it. So all the daycare centers that are ripping everyone off are called First Step Forward for the Children, and all the other one are called like Angel Hospice Care. Like no one says Somalian ripping you off daycare center. It's all, they give it these fruity, stupid names, and they work with the language. You know, they go, the immigrant, the undocumented immigrant community. You're talking about illegals who are coming here, who are taking jobs, who are living off the government teat. Like, they call, by the way, they go gender affirming care. That's cutting off the dick of a 14-year-old dude who's confused. Like, they give a sweet title to everything, and then they go about it. And yes, like Nithya Raman. So Nithya Raman and Karen Bass. Nithya Raman is in the Democratic Socialist Party. That's her platform. That's what she likes. Karen Bass, I don't know what she says, but she's been to Cuba 25 times and calls Fidel Castro the Jefe and the Commodore and all this shit. So she's obviously in that camp as well. And like, you take a look at something like homelessness, the biggest problem we have, one of them. When Karen Bass got in front of the Democratic Party, she gave a speech at 2 years ago. She said the cause of homelessness was income inequality. So meaning that's what Fidel Castro would say. We're taking all the money so they don't have money. Not fentanyl, not the fact that there's junkies, not that they have mental disorders and that they're junkies. It's that somebody took the money from them, so now they don't have a house. So she's a socialist. Nithya Raman's a socialist. And it's that kind of governance that's been running the city to the ground. I've been here my whole life, too. And you have, too. So we have perspective. If you just rolled into town to do a sitcom 4 years ago, then you don't have perspective. I have seen it, and I've seen it decline, and it's under their guard.
So I just left a community event in Eagle Rock, and everybody there was almost a senior citizen, and they've seen everything. And all they asked me, they said, Spencer, quality of life, public safety. We're talking the basics. And the problem is, if you fund public safety and quality of life, guess who loses billions of dollars? The NGOs that give the kickbacks, that get these people elected, that come up with the fancy names. The billions aren't missing. They're spent, but how they spend them is to increase the problem. I was talking to this law enforcement guy that was at this community event. He said yesterday, the crazed dude peeing, pooping everywhere on the street in front of all these kids in school, and they get him under control, and then one of the health people comes and they go, would you like a pipe or a needle? And this law enforcement guy, excuse me? Like, yes, we can give them a pipe. And he's like, what? And this is what we're talking about. Right. These are the medical street teams that Nithya and Bass, to give them pipes and needles. It's insane. And what the reality is, every one of these people is breaking the law. You cannot live on the street. You cannot do drugs on the street. You cannot be naked on the street. And people go, oh, what are you going to do, Spencer? Where are you going to put these people? Well, first off, most of these people are not from California. They've been bussed in by body brokers because it's such a business. These people make so much money. So once you shut down the business and you go in and you unplug all these NGOs, they're going to go to Seattle, or they're going to go out and they're going to grab all these people. They're going to put them on buses themselves because these are their products. This is what they make the money. So yes, again, homeless has different boxes. There are sad stories. People miss a rent here and there. You got to help these people and get them housing. We have housing for these people. People that are fentanyl addicts, they need more fentanyl. People are meth addicts, they need more meth. You could give them the Four Seasons right now, master suite. They don't care. They'll rather hang sideways on the sidewalk till they sober up and get new fentanyl. So these people need mandatory medical treatment. Yes. We need to bring asylums back. Yes. We need to have places that treat people for mental health conditions, not just say, we need more affordable housing. We need more beds.
Well, okay, here's what they do. They give something a title. The title should be street junkies, but they call them homeless. And then they call them the unhoused community. So if you're an unhoused person, then you need a house. So as I tell all these people, and we'll get into it, after the fires, you were unhoused. And so were thousands of people in the Palisades and thousands of people in Malibu and in Altadena. So you and your family are technically the definition of unhoused because your house is burnt to the ground. Did you sleep on the street that night? And have you been on the street since? Or do you have a network? Did you go somewhere? I was unhoused. I went to a hotel. I gave them my credit card. I checked in. I had friends calling me from Kimmel to Mark Garagos to Dr. Drew asking if I needed to stay with them in their guest house or in their home because I'm not a junkie. So I had a network. So it's not about the house because thousands of people were unhoused overnight after the fire. None of them, not one, slept on the street. So is it a house problem or is it a drug and mental problem?
We can even go farther with that. They have $750,000 beds to house the unhoused. I would have loved to just give me $750,000. I'll go buy myself a new bed.
Right.
You just led my house to burn down. Give me $750,000. I'll go buy. But no, I'm a taxpayer. I don't get a $750,000 bed. It's insane. And just Sunday, I was at a protest in San Pedro, right in the middle of this, 600 yards from a preschool, across the street from all these elderly senior citizens, and they're kicking all these senior citizens out of this retirement home because it's called the scam, whatever this NGO is. They bought this building that used to house senior citizens, and they're going to put 400 approximately out of jail drug addicts, mandatory court probation in this place, open door, closed policy. The building, I think, sold for $10 million. Somehow it became a $70 million sale. It's the same thing that happened in Westwood with the Weingarten. These $11 million properties go for 30. This is the mafia cartel.
Grip. Yeah. The Newsom, you can find, I think I was talking about this off the air, but yeah, when I had Newsom in here 13 years ago, I was telling him what the homeless problem was. I said it's drugs and it's people with mental issues. And he told me that the problem was a mom with a full-time job who got divorced. He told me that was the real picture of what we're talking about. Now, that's insane. By the way, when I think some people are too kind, like they'll go, sometimes you see some of that. It's like, not really. I've not seen moms with full-time jobs who got divorced sleeping on a sidewalk with their 2 kids. I only see a real deep drug addiction. But let's not forget, 5 years ago, addiction medicine specialist Dr. Drew said, I will volunteer with the homeless committee for the LA Council, and I will give you my time and my expertise because you've got drugs is the biggest problem driving homelessness, and you have nobody with any experience or expertise in the Council for Homelessness for Los Angeles. So Dr. Drew said, I shall work for free with you on this subject. And they all told him to go pound sand, and they kicked him out.
The DEA will tell you their stat is over 90% of, and my other favorite thing they say is people experiencing homeless is drug addiction.
Right.
I have people message me that they've got in different states that they were a fentanyl addict and they got off, but they needed mandatory treatment. And now that they're back in society and they can add to society, and they tell me, fight for these people to get the treatment because there are people that can get back into, say, that are too far gone right now in this drug addiction journey, and you need to fight for them. Not to mention, I have people, that run sober living facilities that call me, and they'll tell me, Spencer, it took jail to sober me up.
I have friends that took jail to sober them up.
And he said, it changed my life.
Jail saved their lives.
Yeah.
It's cruel sending these women. Cruel. They're in the street right now, sharing filthy needles. I'll play the Newsom clip just because it is Newsom's clinically insane, I think. This is him. By the way, 13 years ago, we could have wrapped our minds around this and got a handle on it before it's hard to unring the bell now because it's such a huge problem. 13 years ago, it was a problem, but not the size of the problem it is now. This is Gavin Newsom. This notion of the guy's a hardworking, God-fearing family member who lost his job and now had to take to the streets is total and utter bullshit.
But what about the picture of real homelessness, which is a poor mom with 2 kids with a husband who took off and left her, who's sitting there struggling on that minimum wage job, and all of a sudden now is out in the streets and sidewalks desperately trying to find some help, get her life back, can't get those kids into child care.
I think that's what happened to
can't
Jewel.
afford them. That's the tough thing.
Yeah, that's tough.
And that's a picture of family homelessness in this country.
That's a postage stamp.
No,
the real picture is bigger than the AIDS quilt, and those are crazy junkies.
Yeah, but no. So what?
Yeah, but no. Okay, he's just arguing. He's telling me the real picture of homelessness is something that doesn't exist. He has some weird fantasy narrative in his head where, what about the hard-working mom with the 2 kids who got divorced and now is out on the curb? And you're literally making a comic book. This doesn't exist. This is a fantasy that you're drawing. They do the same thing with ICE. These guys barging in, kicking open doors, grabbing people, throwing them in Honduras in sweatshops. Okay, that's great when you're talking to a child, but it doesn't exist. You guys are making stuff up. He lives in some sort of delusional sort of netherworld. He describes something that doesn't exist. I describe something that only exists. And somehow he's the guy who wants the votes.
No, he's diabolical.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's scary,
yeah.
Yes.
And again, I'm excited to be the mayor of LA because I'll have at least 3 years as mayor of Los Angeles to fight the chances of him being the president. Because as mayor, I will be able to really open up books and show all of his failures from Sacramento and how they've destroyed Los Angeles. Because what people don't understand is we don't have anybody in LA that fights Sacramento. And these dreams in Sacramento become nightmares of Los Angeles. They have these utopian versions of how we should live in Los Angeles, but nobody fights them in Sacramento. And again, as mayor, I want to be in their, I'm going to be on their territory. Let me tell you, I'm not just going to be fighting the city council. We need to fight these, whoever's the new governor, I may have to fight that person. The lieutenant governor, I'm going to have to fight that person. I'm going to have to fight these lawmakers because all these things they're doing are destroying Los Angeles. And no one from LA goes to Sacramento and fights these imaginary politicians.
No, Karen Bass is fighting Trump. That's her plan.
You know how, so I was just at this community thing, and one of the people was on a commission. This is one of the craziest things I've heard. And after the Palisades fire, there was a Zoom with all the commissioners. She said there was like 150. She said, you can ask my 12-year-old daughter. She witnessed it. And Karen Bass gets on and she says, oh, yeah, Trump just said about rushing the permits. That was after that firehouse. And she's like, I'm not going to do any of what he said. And that lady who was at that meeting said, that's when I resigned from the commission. She said it was the most, she said, these are all these people who lost their homes, and she's doing this politics thing about 7,000 homes burned down.
She's doing F Trump. I know. They look at their number one, their raison d'etre, and the number one goal for being in their position is to fight Trump, not to help Los Angelenos. And by the way, Trump showed up and Trump said, let's get this cleaned up and let's get going and let people do it tonight and let's expedite this whole permit process. And then she went, okay, fuck that guy. And now she's just doing the opposite. So, you know, if Trump said to a vegan, I love that cow, the vegan would shoot the cow. That's how nuts these people are. And the problem is if you want the stuff Trump wants, like expediting permits, you fighting Trump just means it's the opposite of what we want. Your home is in the Palisades, burnt to the ground. And what is the process for you? Where are you at? Are you rebuilding? Are you in the permit process? Are you in the building process? And what's going on with insurance and everything else?
So I got dropped by California farmers. So then I thought, oh, thank God I got onto California Fair Plan, which is, you know, obviously going to go to court. People are going to sue, God knows, California Fair Plan. So to rebuild what I've talked to multiple contractors, they're saying to rebuild my 2,500 square foot house is going to be like $3 million plus. Not to mention now that there's new zoning laws, I have to do caissons down to the bedrock. Yeah, you know all about the caissons. So those could cost $1 million alone. So I got $1.2 million from Fair Plan to build a structure that I could never build on my lot. So I will rebuild, though, because we're going to win the lawsuit against Gavin Newsom State Park. We're going to win the lawsuit against LADWP, and we're going to win the lawsuit against the city. So I will have enough money to rebuild. Why? Another reason I'm fighting so hard to become the mayor.
Is that a class action lawsuit?
Yeah. So I'm the lead plaintiff for one of the, it's a mass tort. So so I'm the lead plaintiff for one of the firms, but there's 10,000 plaintiffs. But the good news is I'm fighting extra hard for LA because I want to be able to rebuild in a city that's possible for my kids to grow up in, the city that I grew up in, that I love. Before our house burned down, my wife wanted to move out of Los Angeles because there was a naked zombie lady cleaning her private parts in front of the kids every morning at 7:45 in front of Palisades Elementary, across the street from my son's preschool at Methodist. And the cops would come and they'd say, hey, no more, please. And she'd wander down the street and then go number 2 in front of Joe's barbershop. So we have to stop this. This is a red alert. We're past, and you said it's almost too far gone. I don't think so. I think if we spend 25 billion plus whatever in California to increase a problem, I think if you put that money to actual solutions, you enforce the law, you open asylums, you have mandatory treatment, you literally do not let people sleep on sidewalks, run around naked, smoke fentanyl at the parks. You can stop this. It won't be a month. But if I'm out there 6 months to a year with the LAPD, I call the DEA to come go after these fentanyl dealers and have a real task force, get the FBI, I get the CDC needs to come down and close all these streets like it was COVID all over again, because we have medieval diseases in all these encampments. They're not doing swabs like they were during COVID. Come swab these streets. We will have people in white suits. We don't even know the diseases that are in these encampments.
Oh, trying to run a small business in this state especially, I mean, it is... the deck is stacked against you. Am I right, Dawson?
Absolutely. We talk about it all the time. We run a small business here, and it's tough these days for small businesses to make bankroll every week. But our friends at Cardiff can help you because they built their entire business on helping your business. They got fast funding and same-day rates you'll find at a bank, but no red tape and all the bureaucracy that we have here in the state of California.
True. They've funded over $12 billion for business owners since 2004. You can apply in 5 minutes, get approved and funded as fast as, well, today. If you've been in business for at least a year and are doing $20,000 in monthly revenue, you could qualify for up to $500,000. Zero impact on your personal credit to apply.
That's right. Stop letting the big banks slow your growth. Go to cardiff.co/Adam. That's Cardiff, CARDIFF.co/ADAM. Cardiff. Borrow better.
Ethos. I'm a provider for my family, so I want to make sure they're going to be okay after I pass. My folks didn't leave me with anything, so I want to make sure my kids don't have to go through what I went through, which is really nothing because I got nothing, but that's its own form of zero trauma, of nothingness. And that's why I've partnered with Ethos. They make getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple questions. And some policies are as low as $30 a month. It's Ethos, right, Dawson?
Take 10 minutes to get covered today with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Adam. That's ETHOS.com/Adam. Application times may vary. Rates may vary.
Yeah, so you got like Nithya Raman, who I'm trying to think there's the betting odds and then there's the, odds that the pollsters take. I don't know where you're at.
So I'm number 1 against Bass in the UCLA poll. Betting odds, she will always be ahead because all of her cult following are these, we don't need to put them in a title, but they're the type of people that are on doing the betting apps and cooking it. The people that are voting for me don't even know that Polymark exists. They don't know about Kaleshi, just people at jobs that are working, that are going to park. The people that vote for her are these DSA foot soldier type people,
right.
And they know they think they can cook the. It doesn't matter. These bets will mean nothing to the moms that have to deal with junkies on the way to school.
So it's Nithya Raman, who's a city council person, I think, and then there's Karen Bass, who's the current mayor. Now, Nithya Raman got onto my radar a couple of years ago because people were stealing catalytic converters, and she had a plan to end catalytic converter theft in Los Angeles. People are getting, by the way, been killed. More than one has been killed with this. And by the way, almost everyone I know who works here has gotten their catalytic converter stolen, and there's nothing they can do about it. This is Nithya Raman's plan to end the scourge known as stealing of the catalytic converters.
In this case, I think one of the things that really infuriates me is that we have a company, Toyota, who makes the Prius that essentially has a device on their cars, which is super easy to remove. It's basically the value of a MacBook, right? That is put in a place that is incredibly easy to access in your car. And then the thefts related to this issue have essentially all of the costs of that are given to us to bear instead of them having to manufacture a car that actually is not so easy to be stolen.
All right, so this woman has a scrambled brain. I don't know how else to describe this. It's a basic mechanical problem, and you think the problem lies with the manufacturer, which is Toyota, who, by the way, ships cars worldwide and doesn't have a problem with the stealing of the catalytic converter. Plus, every car on the road has a catalytic converter. So if Toyota started putting theirs in shark cages, then people would just slide over to Honda and Ford and steal their catalytic converters. So you need every car, or you could enforce laws and try to figure out and get to the bottom of the fact that you are running there's cartels that are running these rings where they get young guys to go out at 4 a.m. and crawl into people's cars. This person has a scrambled brain.
The scarier clip from Nithya Raman is where she's arguing with the parents about the encampment by the school that two gangs, rival gangs, are selling fentanyl through the tents. There's all this crime, and she says in this to the parents that there's no difference between 1 foot and 500 feet, and when all the parents boo her, she rolls her eyes and goes, whatever. So I also was just at a community meeting, right? And
well, we can play that. I think we have that clip.
It's you got to hear it.
I've heard it before. I always wonder, what is the end game? Like, do you just want nihilism? Do you want total destruction? Like, what does she want out of this? Oh, we'll play it, sir.
May I ask a specific question? I'm wondering if you support 4118 around schools and daycares.
I already voted against it, you know?
There you go.
Because it doesn't work. I mean, it's like, I don't think a kid's going to be safer because it's 10 to 5 away from a school, you know?
God, that will kill me.
I have a question.
Guarantee you her kids go to private school, and guarantee you there's no drug encampments in front of her private school. And that's what a champagne socialist is. She'll tell all these tax-paying citizens that there's no difference between zombies 1 foot and 500 feet. When I just talked to a mom that said she went to Nithya and her team multiple times about a guy that was peeping Tomming in her district into these women's houses, right on the sidewalk, blocking where the kids would have gone to school. Thankfully, it was in the summer, they said, and they just ignored her. Nothing we can do, nothing we can do. Thankfully, this community council group figured out this guy was a sex offender and went to his parole officer from Riverside. This guy broke his parole, so they come and arrest this guy. He goes back to prison because it was his third strike. Right. So she doesn't even listen to moms having sex offenders on the sidewalk looking into these people's yards. So their time is up. Everyone, they just haven't had a Spencer Pratt that stepped up and was like, no. We are done with these psychos. And people are going to show up and vote for me because I'm going to enforce all the laws that every taxpayer that has a functioning brain wants. This is basic stuff. Like the nice old man from the business center said to me today, quality of life and public safety. And that is what I'm going to win on. These people, they don't even say they're going to make you safer. Karen Bass's new budget, she said, oh yeah, I funded the police. You didn't even fund how many police are going to retire this year. 500. If we're going to really fund the police, it's going to take 10-year plan. And that's the type of things you need to be talking about. They're not funding. And then she, ready for this? Yes. Karen Bass yesterday in her budget said, because she didn't increase the fire department or whatever, she said the fire department is ready to deal with any situation like we had to. You know, we have 47 less firefighters than we did on January 7th. So how are we ready to deal with another, people think it's the Palisades. Hollywood Hills is gonna burn. Tahunga, Sunland, gonna burn. Brentwood, gonna burn. Bel Air, gonna burn. All these places, there's a lot of the Palisades at Mandeville Canyon that didn't burn because of Chief Garcia and his U.S. Forest Service, not Newsom, because he has his guys stand down, even though it's a 365 fire, Munich, blah, blah, blah. So this guy had his tankers save Brentwood. If he didn't have his planes and helicopters, Brentwood would be gone. So all the people that are like, oh, that was just a Palisades thing, it was unprecedented. It's as dry as can be. They have not cleared 60 years of that same dead fuel around all these communities. They have no plan to. So it's...
Well, it's always telling. So now Nithya is doing had another thing where she acted normal. Here's my... Okay, we'll play her. So now this is from what? A week ago or something? Or this is recent now. Okay.
This is one of the most park-poor cities in the country. I want it so that every family, every child can walk to a park in their neighborhood that is safe and clean and that even has programming for them. And that is possible. It's within our grasp. We just have to push the government. We have to have a vision for change that really delivers that version of Los Angeles for its people.
She is the government. You've been the city council member for 6 years. Who are you going to push, yourself? She's in charge of the homeless council on the city council.
I love it. I love it when Newsom shows up and there's a train going through a pile of garbage and everyone's ripping off Amazon things. And he goes, "What's going on? Who's in charge out here?" Like that. I love when Karen Bass explains that now she has a plan, and this time they're going to prioritize. Bitch, you've been in place for 4 years. What's going on? You all on the council. You let it all get. Why should we believe you? And it is funny when they pretend to act normal. Like now I'm law and order and safety and kids and clean communities. I never heard any of that until you're forced to it. Here's what ends up happening. It's basically, you'll see it. Like Tim Walz is going around now. He's completely unglued and he's nuts. But remember, he was just gapping the plugs in his international harvester so he could go hunting. They try to pretend to be normal when they're running for office. Tim Walz was just an aw shucks guy who liked ice fishing and hunting from Minnesota, not some unhinged socialist nut job you see up on stage every other night screaming about Trump. So they pretend to be normal. Okay, you have Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris wanted trans, prison, illegals, pay for the prisoners to get their trans stuff, end fracking, and then all of a sudden she's running for president. It's like, oh no, I'm not for ending fracking. No, that whole trans prison, I'm not for any of the stuff I've been talking about for 10 years. Really? Then you get voted in, then you implement all this stuff. Joe Biden was run on, he's a normal guy. Center, slow and steady, gets in, taken over by the radical left. Everything becomes a shit show. Borders wide open. So be wary of people pretending to be normal when they're not. And essentially what it's like is like me going, look, it is no difference. Go, look, I need a babysitter. Okay, there's two guys. One guy is a career pedophile, and the other guy has never been accused of anything. So I'm going, well, I think I'll take the guy who's never been accused of anything. And then the guy goes, who's a career pedophile, goes, that was the old me. I was like in my 50s when I stopped that. I'm 62 now. So I've changed my mind on a lot of diddling. And I'm like, how about I just go with the guy that never said he did that in the first place and never did do it? So what they're essentially saying is, yeah, I talked about all this shit, but now I'm normal. Well, I don't believe you. Well, why should I believe you? Why don't I just vote for a normal guy who's always been normal?
Well, the scariest thing is if I'm the normal guy, we're in big trouble to begin with. So, but if you think about it, this is their whole shtick, because I have been working with these dog rescue people have reached out to me and showed me what was going on months ago about the dogs that are being tortured, set on fire, testing drugs, abused, all this. And Nithya Raman knows about it. All these city council members, these people call them all day long. They email, they send the videos, they call the police. They have no problem with it happening. Now that she's running, she does, and they see that That's who I'm fighting for, to save all these dogs.
Right.
The shelters are mass murdering. They're supposedly no-kill shelters, yet all I see is people sending me videos of perfectly fine dogs getting killed the next day. So what do? Yesterday, Bass announces this lady to run the shelters that has no experience running a shelter at this level. All the salaries are like $1 million plus when it needs to be going to the dogs and keeping these dogs alive. Nithi is like, we need to protect the dogs. Well, you're not going to enforce the law. You're not going to enforce neuter. You know why they don't do spay and neutering? Because it's culturally insensitive. No,
Really?
it's the law, and we're gonna do it for free. We're gonna go around and we're gonna enforce spaying and neutering so there aren't mass dog. We're not gonna let people just be breeding dogs on the sidewalk. First off, when I'm mayor, there won't be people living on the sidewalk, so they definitely won't be torturing and breeding dogs. But it's back to now they hear Spencer and all the dog people are like, oh, this guy's gonna actually help these dogs. We gotta be dog people now too.
Right.
And so we do these little fake, but again, they'll never say we're gonna enforce the law because they can't. They're too deep in the, oh, we don't do that. These people have rights. They're experiencing a homelessness and they're experiencing needing that dog tortured for their health. You know, these people are psycho.
The other, I completely agree. And I mean, A, you can look at their track record, and B, you can just sort of take them at their word. Like, this is what they're interested in. She's blaming Toyota because gangs are stealing catalytic converters. Her other great one was she was trying to get a U-turn sign taken down on, I think, Hyperion and Silver Lake in a gay part of town because guys used to cruise there for dudes, and the people who lived on that street didn't want guys banging in the bushes all night and picking up gay tricks in front of their house. So once again, they put a sign up that said no cruising, basically. But she decided it'd be good use of her time to go down there and remove the sign. And the thing that's insane is Los Angeles is one big sign. No right on red, no turning, no U-turn, school zone, like everyone's saying. This is just a sign that said no U-turn, meaning the residents said, we're tired of gay guys cruising up and down the boulevard endlessly in front of our house to pick up dudes. So put a sign that says no U-turn and they won't keep cruising in front of the house. But she went down there with her drag queen buddies and got the sign taken down, which is, by the way, it's a weird thing. It's like Scott Wiener in San Francisco. Gay, lesbian, drag, whatever. It's not what people are concerned about. They're concerned about safety, cleanliness, fire prevention, school systems, parks that are usable. We're not all down with the trans community, and we don't care because it doesn't affect us. What does affect us is the peeping Tom sex offender who's camped out on the sidewalk in front of my house. But I'll play the clip just so it's fun. They're so proud of themselves, by the way.
We're on Griffith Park Boulevard, right on the side of District 13. And
Hugo Soto's probably retarded,
no
too.
No U-turn signs that were connected to the no cruising signs that were used to discriminate against the LGBT community. So we removed the last remnants of that really terrible
she's
policy.
Tugging at a sign.
It's a very joyful and exciting day.
They slipped through the cracks. They were a relic of the 90s anti-gay policies in Los Angeles. There were signs that explicitly said no cruising, which had been removed years ago.
Here's the point. This is where their priorities lie. You have a city that is filled with potholes and homeless people and dark bridges because people are stealing the copper wiring out. Graffiti everywhere, homelessness everywhere, junk and garbage everywhere, street takeovers, crime running wild, and a failing school system, and you're worried about a no U-turn sign in Silver Lake.
We're just it's Idiocracy times, like the movie, this isn't even the sequel. We're on like Idiocracy 7.
Yes.
It's that bad. And, it's so crazy. Some of these laws that they've put in, there's child sex trafficking happening on Figueroa, but the cops can't even step in because there's laws that that Wiener did where they can't approach a minor that could potentially be sex trafficking because of, it's
they legalize. Here's what they do. Let me explain how their whole world works. They go, prostitution, what's going on? Well, there's more black and brown women being arrested for prostitution than there are Irish and Italian women. And then they go, okay, well, I guess the way to fix that is just legalize all streetwalkers. And then it's more black and brown people walking around in the street, but now they're not getting arrested, and now the pimps and the cartels are coming in, and now you just essentially have underage black and brown women who are being sex trafficked, but no crime.
Well, and another fact, it's back to the drugs. Every cop I talk to, if you talk about these sex workers, they're all addicts. Mm-hmm. So it's, again, they may not be the homeless drug addicts, but now we have the sex worker drug addicts. It's back to getting these women or men or whoever is a sex worker into mandatory treatment for their addiction. So when they're not addicted to fentanyl, they're not selling tricks or whatever to get money to buy more fentanyl. And it always comes back to when you stop the drug addicts and the drug dealers. And besides the feds coming in and going after the 18th Street at MacArthur Park, you never hear about Mayor Bass or Nithya saying, we need task force to go after all these fentanyl dealers and go. I never heard them talk about it once.
No, they're not.
No,
well,
because they profit off of it.
I mean, I don't know. Look, it's pretty much this. There are people living in this country and in this city that are here illegally. They came here from Mexico or Guatemala or Honduras or India or Russia or God knows, Ethiopia. They've just come across, they've poured across an open border. Some of them are working and, contributing, and others are gang members, and others are involved with drugs and human trafficking and whatever it is. We have a group, and by the way, some of them are terrorists, really. And we don't know how many of them are terrorists. So we have a group called ICE, which is law enforcement, but it's for this subject. And they're going to come in and they're going to try to find these people and they're going to arrest these people. And or if you arrest these people for rape or murder or arson, when you release them, we'd like you to release them to ICE so that we can remove them from the country, because I don't want people here from other countries committing crimes. And you say, no, we're going to fight ICE. So are you pro-law enforcement or not? It doesn't sound like you're pro-law enforcement. You want to defund the police, and you want to abolish ICE, and you want to fight ICE at every turn. So no, you're not into law and order. I can tell by what you're interested in. You're into the trans community. That's where your interest lies, because that's all you talk about. And then when it comes to cops, you want to defund the police.
So I just met with also an immigrant community, and their biggest issue with ICE is that the actual rapists and drug dealers and murderers are hiding behind the good, hardworking immigrants. They're hiding behind these sanctuary protections.
Yes.
And so we, as Angelenos, we need to get these rapists, murderers, and drug traffickers, child traffickers, we need to get them out of this country. And the immigrant community wants them out too.
Of course, because it's like defund the police affects black people in the shit neighborhoods. They're the ones who need the police.
No, it's so racist that they're like, Spencer, what? Of course we want these rapists, drug. We're not talking about.
Well, let's put it to you this way. Hold on. You and me are white. If we lived in a white neighborhood, which we did, Malibu, Palisades, but there are a bunch of white rapists and drug traffickers and human traffickers around us, then we would want them out. We'd want Gary and Glenn and Chet the fuck out of our neighborhood. And it wouldn't be because we're racist against white people.
100%. And that's what they tell me. They say, Spencer, you got to find a way to get these people that are destroying our communities. They're the ones trafficking the kids. They're the ones selling the drugs. They're the gangsters, but they're hiding under these protections. So if you actually ask the immigrant community, they don't want these illegal criminals. And that's who we need to focus on as a city, from the mayor, from LAPD, and the federal government, getting the criminal element that's part of destroying Los Angeles. They're the ones giving all these zombies the fentanyl. So, and if you don't let them get the bad guys, then the federal government ends up getting the people that nobody wants. The guy, the Joe Schmo hardworking person that, yes, they're still illegal, but that's nobody's priority, in the sense that, why are we going after this person when we got somebody who's gang-banging, drug dealer, rapist, murder, but we can't get to them because Mayor Bass is blocking to get to them. So then you're stuck with getting the low-hanging fruit.
The Home Depot guy.
Yeah.
All right. So, I would say this, which is, and it's kind of interesting. Like, people were like, well, what about Spencer Pratt? Like, what experience does that guy have? Or what do you know about him? Or what's in his background? And I said, well, okay, I would take somebody with no experience over someone who was really bad. Like, I would say one guy's a horrible decorator who's going to decorate your apartment and make it look like shit. And the other guy doesn't have decorating experience, but he's a pragmatic guy. I'd go, well, I'll try that guy because I already know what the outcome of this is. So Karen Bass, I already know who she is. You should know who she is. If you live in Los Angeles, you should know who she is. She's taken the city one direction. Nithya Raman would be Karen Bass plus. I would go worse. Think Chicago. You had Lori Lightfoot, and you go, boy, this city's really going into the gutter. And then you got Brandon Johnson, who's actually worse than Lori Lightfoot, and now it's going further into the gutter, versus something completely different. And people go, well, what experience does Spencer Pratt have running a major? It doesn't matter to me. I would take a plastic owl that they put on the sign over the seafood place to keep the seagulls from shitting on the sign over Bass or Nithya Raman, because I know who they are. This sounds like a backhanded compliment, but I'm just saying, like, one coach is a horrible coach with a horrible game plan and is going to lose every single game. And the other guy is some guy from college who I haven't heard of. I'll take him.
Yeah, and it comes back to, these people had no experience. Mayor Bass didn't have experience running the second largest city when people elected her. She ran, the most she did was like get a post office made from out of her office. Nithya Raman calls herself like a public planner. Like, she's got no experience. She's just a champagne socialist married to a millionaire producer. These people don't have experience, and the experience they do have is experience at failing, making everything worse. The experience I have is living the failure of these politicians destroying my way of life. Regardless of my house, my parents' house burning down, my whole town, my neighbors burning alive, they also destroyed my city, the businesses, the restaurants I went to, the actual business that I was part of, the entertainment business, gone. And so what I do have that these people clearly don't have is common sense. And there's a lot of smart people that want to save LA that I would bring in. The people that I used to talk to every week, that I would see every week, like Rick Caruso. You don't think I can call Rick Caruso and bring him in and say, hey, Rick, I have no experience doing building. Can you put together a committee of the top permit issues and run this, be an advisor? And who should I hire? Rick, let me talk to these.
Rick sent me a text last night because I was making fun of Antonio Villaraigosa, and it turned into a clip, and he just sent it to me. He was like, hey, man, that was funny. And I was like, yeah, no, Rick, Rick can build.
There's plenty of people like that. There's people that will come work in the city for me that are successful CEOs.
Well, that's the point. You can get Dr. Drew to come work on the addiction medicine.
There's the people lining up that I meet with they're not Rick Caruso, but they got portfolios that they want back. Everybody wants LA back. There's a lot of people invested. Not to mention, I have a deputy mayor that I can't reveal who it is. But when I announce that, everyone's gonna be like, oh, Spencer's good. The experience. So it's about putting the people with the experience around me. And then my job is to make sure we just stop the craziness. And I already have the IRS is going to come in. We're going to unplug all these NGOs, audit every dollar, and find all this waste and corruption. There's no mayor that's going to do that. They're all politicians. They need somebody like that who's coming in to stop these people. That's my experience. The guy says, no more. You're all done.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Yeah, man. What do? They keep your car on the road. That's their job. Not too many car issues that I can't figure out, but if I get stumped, O'Reilly. It's always my first call. They've got thousands of parts in stock, and either in store, you can go online. You never have to worry if you're in a jam. They will test your battery for free, and if it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right one that fits. So, whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll see the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are helpful and friendly. O'Reilly is your one-stop shop for all things auto do-it-yourself. It's O'Reilly. Am I right, Dawson?
Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
Pluto TV has thousands of free movies and TV shows.
We're coming at you with everything we got.
This is the mindset. Free. This is the mantra. Free. This is the mindset. With movies like Pineapple Express, the entire Star Trek film franchise, and Gladiator, and TV shows like Survivor, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Fairly Odd Parents, and Ghosts, Pluto TV is always free. Huzzah! Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Now would be the time for me to throw my hat in the ring for traffic czar. There is no traffic czar in LA. Many other cities have a traffic czar. We have the worst traffic in America, and we have nobody in charge of it. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. First off, qualifications. I've been driving here my entire life. Never been in an accident. I've won the celebrity and the pro version of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, so I can handle the wheel. And I have hypervigilance. I sit around, I look around, I go, what are we doing? Like, half the people in this town don't know it's legal to turn right on a red. So, you know, when you come down Sunset and it spills into PCH and it backs up all the way up Sunset, the person in the front just sitting there and the light's red, and I'm like, turn, just turn. And they're like, I don't know that I'm allowed to turn. We have so many rules and so many things that don't make sense, like left turn arrows turn red, and then everyone backs up. They should just blink yellow like they do in every other city. They should never turn red. But those signs, I want to be in charge of the freeway signs, because if I see click it or ticket again, I'm going to ram the DMV and blow myself up. I wanted to say use your turn signal. Nobody uses their turn signal. I have 15 ideas. I've never heard a politician discuss it. It never comes up. We waste time. By the way, it's bad for the environment just to sit and idle in traffic, but our lives are just sand through the hourglass because we have so much traffic. It's depressing. People aren't being productive. There are ways to move things along. You don't need to put a second story on the 405. There's an efficiency thing that we're not at. Like, here's how I would treat traffic. Once in a while, there's a big drought, and so they go, we're in a drought, we want to save water. So they put all these campaigns out, sweep your driveway, don't hose it down, and don't wash your car, take it to the place where, and then we end up saving 30% of water because we just got on it. Like they made an issue out of it, they woke some people up, and they went, fine, I'll put in the fake lawn instead of the sod that I water every day. So do that with traffic. Just wake people up. I'll be the czar, and I'll make it happen. When I tried to talk to Gavin Newsom about traffic 13 years ago, he gave probably the most insane answer, even more insane than the homelessness answer, which is, you wouldn't think you could get more insane than that answer. But his answer was, when I said to him, what are we going to do about traffic? Like, let's go. Let's work on this. He goes, I saw a sign I kind of liked. I said, yeah. He goes, it said, You're not in traffic. You are traffic. I kind of like that. And then he laughed. And then he changed the subject. And I have no idea what he meant. And I don't think he knows what he meant. But I don't know at this point. Do you think his wife is crazier than he is?
Well, I could have saw the clip out of context, so I'll give her whatever benefit. But from the clip I saw, she was saying that, murderers could have been an accident, like when she killed her sister. So,
there's a few tapes of her saying the same thing. Wait, we have him. This is all right. You heard Gavin Newsom's approach to a solution on homelessness. Now he's gonna set his sights on traffic.
And California, with some of the worst traffic in the world, doesn't have a policy that Idaho thought of.
Is that right?
This can't be the first time you've heard this.
Well, not specifically this. I saw a billboard out on the 405 says you're not stuck in traffic. And you're thinking, how the hell, what does that mean? It says you are traffic, which I kind of like, which sort of made the point.
Wow. All right, hold on. I don't know what point did it make? You laughed off me. You know what I was talking about? In Idaho, they'd have signs that say, if it steers, it clears. Like, if you get in an accident, get off the freeway, pull over. Don't stand in the middle of the freeway and exchange information. You're going to get killed, and you're backing up everyone else. If your car drives, just pull it over to the shoulder. Nobody here knows that because all the signs say is click it or ticket. When you go to other cities, it says, in an accident, pull over to the shoulder. If it steers, it clears.
Well, perfect example of us not telling the public things about traffic. Mm-hmm. I grew up, if you cross the street in the middle of an intersection, it's jaywalking. Now they changed the law, but nobody knows it. Now there are all these stings. You're watching, all the motor police are giving the tickets because it is now a crime. You can cross the entire 4 lanes, and if all the cars don't just stop, they're getting tickets. And
right.
And people are like, what is this? But they changed a lot. Now it's not. Right. Now anywhere there's like in between, I don't know the exact, pretty much it's crazy.
I know, Jay. And they're setting them up with stings.
Because nobody knows.
Right.
It's back to like, you got to tell people when you change laws.
We got a clip, I think, of Nithya now trying to act normal.
Oh, she's talking about me. She's saying the city needs a fighter.
Well, she fought to tear down tree houses that were illegal.
2 weeks ago, last week, she voted no to get rid of the encampment by the schools in Venice.
Right, yeah.
But she wants parks to be safe.
She's a socialist. All right.
Let's talk about what's wrong with Los Angeles, which would be too long of a conversation to have. But stepping back, the city of LA has a budget of around $14 billion. Yet we can't fix sidewalks, repave streets. We don't plant trees. We can't replace the bulbs in our street lamps. Why, in the richest state in the country, in the 4th largest economy in the world, is Los Angeles such a basket case?
I think a lot of it has to do with really poor fiscal management here at the city. We are making decisions that undermine our capacity to be able to deliver basic essential services for our residents. And I think that's a shame because it is, again, it's completely possible to do it. We last year had $1 billion budget deficit. That definitely had some kind of impacts from the fires the year prior and from, or a few months prior, and from heightened liability claims that are impacting a lot of municipalities across the country. But the biggest issue was that we signed unsustainably large contracts, beginning with the police union, which is one of the biggest players in local politics. We signed an enormous contract with them that everybody at City Hall knew would lead to hundreds of millions of dollars of shortfall. And yet we signed it anyway because the mayor and many other City Hall leaders, I voted against it, many other City Hall leaders knew that the police union is the major player in local elections. They're the biggest funders of independent expenditure committees of campaign funding.
Andrew, are we just going to watch another podcast? Or are you going to skip to something we were talking about? Or no, we're just playing her? Okay. She's full of shit. But she's also, it says here, she's blocking LA-based influencers on Instagram for calling her out. She's blocking her constituents. Yeah, look.
She also they went after So the film police guy who's goes after police accountability, she hired their political social media influencers to make attack videos, and they went after him, and they should have done that because this is what he does. It backfired. But yeah, the reality is she's the biggest liar ever. The reason there's no money is because you're the head of the homeless committee on the city council, and you guys blew $1 billion+ to increase a problem. Right. It's not because the cops are underfunded. It's the lowest the cops have been in 30 years. So the idea, even the police chief said we need to get to 12,500 cops to just be a functioning city. And you can talk about, look at how much the police get paid. There's 4 million people in the city of LA. If we're lucky, throughout the day, there's 1,000 cops in the streets for 4 million people.
Really? That's the number.
Well, you got to think about it. They work 24 hours. Guys got to go on vacation. People get sick. So out of the 8,000 plus, you're lucky to have 1,000 on patrol.
Is your folks going to rebuild in the Palisades?
They have started.
So the permitting process is begrudgingly moving along in the Palisades. Along the coast, there's the water side, the Coastal Commission side, there's nothing. There is one place I've been chronicling. But other than that, there's zero in the building department. Are you affected by the Coastal Commission up where you are?
Well, I think we need to get rid of the Coastal Commission. We need to get rid of CARB. All these people that care more about seaweed and milk vetch over people. And like some of your videos you've shown, these wood frame houses that have been here 70 years, why can't we build them again? We don't have better wood now?
Yeah. When I'm, to be more specific, I don't know. You can show, Andrew, I tweeted out a couple of days ago, they're getting ready to pour the slab of one house. It's just a single family residence on PCH. I've been chronicling the caissons and what they're doing. Just to be clear, it's a 50-something caissons. Average depth is going to be about 4 stories. They're like 3 foot around. They're building a seawall that's like 2 foot thick and 22 feet deep all the way around and tying them into these caissons. The slab is 12 inches thick that the house is on. Now, the average thickness for a residential home on a slab on grade is 4 inches. 6 is like a hefty, like if you've got a garage and you drive a big truck or something, maybe you go with 6. 12 inches is literally what you do for commercial airliners at the airport. There's no such thing as a 12-inch slab in a residential building, but that's what they're getting. Along with these grade beams, they are pouring thousands of yards in concrete. They're going to be $2.5 million into the foundation. There is no framing. They've been building this thing for a year now. They're $2 million in, and there's no wood. The only wood is the wood they're using to form the concrete, which they'll strip away. Sorry, you can play it. I just go by it and film the progress every couple of weeks. Now they're getting ready to form the floor, and you can see the caissons. It's practically impossible. And I don't mean practically impossible like a euphemism or like a saying. I just mean from a practical standpoint, it is impossible to rebuild considering the zoning and what they make you do. And what Spencer was saying is they used to just hit telephone poles on a pile driver into the sand and just build your house on it. That's what that house was built on that. I talked to the architect. I said, Jesus Christ, is it really necessary, this much concrete? Whatever. He goes, the old house that was here before it burnt down, the same house, no concrete in the foundation, 0, just piles. They built them like the pier up the street.
Here's the most insane part of this whole thing. So, for instance, my house to rebuild, it was there, 60 years, multiple earthquakes, And now you want me to put these caissons and you want me to build it a certain way. You care about how my house is built, so it doesn't fall down the hill. There's not even a house it could hit if it did fall down this hill. But you didn't care, the city didn't care, and the state didn't care to let it burn down. You let 60 years of dead brush come right up to my backyard that I wasn't allowed to clear because I would get fined, maybe arrested. The LAFD can't even clear it because they'll get fined, and they're told by the state parks because these are protected endangered plants. So you care about how to let my house burn down. You don't care. But now when I want to rebuild it, it has to be this way. But you'll tell me in court, the city of LA will say in court, we have no responsibility to make sure your house doesn't burn down. Well, then why do you care how I built it?
Well, the other thing is, listen, I live there and my family lives there. So how about you trust the guy whose kids live in the house to build a safe house? That's how we used to do it in this country. It's a little autonomy we used to have. We didn't have to go to the government and ask permission to do everything. The thing that's crazy is you want to pull a Winnebago up and park it in Venice and deal meth out of it. The city has no problems with you. If you started to rebuild your house just on your own, like you just said, hey, man, I got an architect. I got an engineer. These guys are responsible guys. They're bonded. They're professional. I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm paying them.
They would come demolish it.
They would come demolish your house like they demolished a tree house. That's the problem. I want less of them. And what I want you guys doing is a little less focusing on stingily handing out permits to law-abiding citizens or tearing down tree houses or yelling at Toyota about catalytic converter placement or going with the trans community to take down street signs, and a little more focus on the homeless and the NGOs ripping everyone off and the failing system and the infrastructure and the potholes in the train to nowhere. Like, that's what I want you to focus on. And we'll leave my rebuilding of my home between me and my accountant and the engineer and the architect. How about that?
Yeah, and the fact that Mayor Bass with the whole permitting thing went out on the news was like, I'm going to waive all the permits, either knowing she didn't have that authority or knew she didn't have the authority. I don't know which is worse. And to this day, the only way you can get your permit fee waived is if you build exactly the same footprint of the house they let burn down. Who in their right mind is going to rebuild their exact house? First off, you have to rebuild it now to be fire resilient. There's all these new codes. And now I know people who, because of how deep the fire went and how they had to dig out a certain amount of toxic ash, now to get it like a certain level, they had to add more feet. So now their permits aren't waived. The fact that there was ever an issue where the city was going to charge any money, and still is, for the people's houses they let burn down is so insane. I don't even talk about the fire stuff as much because that's how they go. He only cares about the fire. I go, no, my house is gone. The palace is going to take 25 years to come back. I'm fighting you guys now because you woke me up and now I don't have a house. And I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, you guys are metaphorically burning down our whole entire city.
The fire is a metaphor for the entire problem, which is way too many politicians, way too many rules. By the way, vigorously enforcing permit laws while neglecting the forest and managing the forest and the aqueducts and the fire department. You guys are Johnny on the spot on any kind of permitting or anything that involves cutting you a check, but stuff we pay taxes for, you've let fallen into neglect, and now the place is burnt down because of you. But if you don't think this mindset affects everything, that's what's going on in places that didn't burn as well, that same mindset. Spencer Pratt, let me give you a plug. Mayor Pratt, that's PRATT.com. This is going to be fun. I am endorsing you, and I'm rooting for you as well.
Well, when I win, you better be ready to close up shop. You're going to be very busy as the traffic czar. So right now you're the only resume that's been pitched. So obviously I'll take others, but you got a good edge ahead of the race. But the key plug is everyone needs to show up and vote. And when I say vote, ballots drop May 4th. You'll probably get them in the mail May 6th. The way we really stop this is everybody gets their ballots and they fill them out and they send them in and they drop them off. You go to your grandma. This is legal. You can go get your grandma's ballot from her. You go drop it off for her. Everyone needs to vote because I have enough people to win that are upset and angry, but you need to take that upset and angry and do your part and vote. Because the other side, the DSA, they have foot soldiers, and they go around and they trick people and they pretend they're Democrats and they say, oh, we're gonna more affordability, more care, all these euphemisms, all the little baby talk, and they trick people. We need to get out and vote. That's the plug. So just vote.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with news right after this. Shopify. Well, I was nervous before starting my podcast, but that's the feeling you get before doing anything worthwhile. So if you have an idea, now's the time to go after it. But you're going to need the right tools. That's where Shopify comes in. Shopify is the site behind 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. It's packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and enhance your product photography. They also have hundreds of ready-to-use templates for your design studio. Shopify helps you find your customers with easy-to-run email and social media campaigns. Trust me, you'll love having Shopify by your side. Am I right, Dawson?
It's time to turn those what-ifs into... with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/Carolla. Go to shopify.com/Carolla. That's shopify.com/Carolla.
Tecovas. Well, anywhere worth going is worth going in good boots. Find your perfect pair with Tecovas. No stiff break-in period, just instant out-of-the-box comfort. They also have amazing leather goods, so you can pick up wallets, belts, and more. I really love my boots. They felt great right out of the box. Started wearing them on stage. And I've gotten a lot of compliments during the meet and greets as well. Tecovas isn't just a store. It's a destination for anyone who values quality and comfort. So you do what I do. And you do what I did. You get yourself some Tecovas. Am I right, Dawson?
Right now, get 10% off at tecovas.com/Adam when you sign up for email and text. That's 10% off at tecovas.com/Adam. Tecovas.com/Adam. See site for details. Tecovas. Point your toes west. Welcome back to the Adam Carolla Show. Here are a few upcoming lectures this spring at the University of Washington. A Larger Freedom, Multiracial Democracy, and the Radical Reconstruction of the United States. Is a River Alive? Exploring the lives, deaths, and rights of rivers. And 5 ways to watch the World Cup. Just a few offerings this spring from the University of Washington. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
All shit I wouldn't be interested in, but as I said, I don't like any of that shit. Yeah. And you guys don't like Ben Shapiro. So stay home when Ben Shapiro speaks, and then when you want to talk about rivers being alive, I'll stay home.
Yeah.
But I don't go try to burn down the auditorium when you're doing the symposium on the indigenous people or the river.
Yeah.
So you can do the same when somebody comes to speak about something you don't have any interest in.
Now, what if it's 2 girls, 1 World Cup? What about that?
Yeah.
Would that be something you might be interested in, Race?
I got fooled into that. Jeez, who fooled me into that? I'll think of it.
I imagine Adam Ray probably got you to watch it because he gets everybody to watch it.
It wasn't Dave Attell, was it?
No, it was his doppelganger.
Yeah.
Robert Schimmel?
It was Robert Schimmel.
Yeah.
It was Schimmel who wanted to show me something on his computer real quick. Look at this, Adam. Yeah, during a commercial. All right. I know you got stuff lined up. I wanted to play this Pete Buttigieg clip because he was doing like a town hall. And it is insane. I mean, everyone's a narcissist now, and I guess there's a narcissism where you worry out loud a lot about the people. You know what I mean? Like Gavin Newsom's wife does that. She'll do a speech. Well, she'll go, women are being subjugated and black and Hispanic and the LGBT community, and then they'll pause and they'll go, I'm the kind of person that when I hear something like this, I stand up and fight. And it's like, you're the kind of person who films themselves saying it from
the worst.
The French Laundry. You're the kind. So it all. So what I keep telling everyone is all roads lead to narcissism. You go, what are they so obsessed with the LGBT? No, they're marching in the Million Woman March because they're narcissists, not because they're worried about women. Because when you ask them, what specifically do you want? What's the problem? They don't really even have an answer. There was a lot of this with COVID, but I'll tell you why, it was COVID. Because people are like, I got vaccinated, now I can't get sick, and I got my kids vaccinated, now they can't get sick, now you got to get vaccinated. I'm like, why do I have to get vaccinated? Well, what about me? And I'm like, what about you? You're fine. You just got vaccinated. What do you care about me? I need you to do it. Now, that's narcissism. All right, this is a woman who's 70 years old who's going to ask Pete Buttigieg with a weird twang, by the way, because you don't normally hear these kind of words coming out with this dialect. But she's worried about the community. Here we go.
Thank you. Hi. Every day I wake up scared because a person I love is trans. And I'm waiting for the day that they start banging on doors and taking our trans and our gay friends and family.
All right, can we pause here? All right. Let me just say this. Trump had been elected president 2 times. Let me just work something out with twang, spaz, trans spaz bitch. The guy you're worried about, who's a dictator, and all you people who are worried about him being a dictator and coming for the trans community and the LGBT community and stuff, he has 8 years to get that done. He's over 5 years. Over 5 years of that total 8. He's already used up and hasn't made his move yet. Do you think he's waiting till the very last day in office to come for the trans community? So there is shit I'll put it to you this way. 8 years. That's 8 years, yes. Now, the thing Trump complained about the most is the open border. Day 1, he was on the open border. Day fucking 1, he was on the open border, and now the border, 5 days in, ostensibly is closed, and there's 0 crossings of the border, illegal border crossing now, 0, because that's what he cared about. But you're claiming he cares about collecting the trans community and putting them in a gulag. Well, I could probably get hold of Trump. I got to tell him, buddy, you're on the clock. Like, you're so distracted with whatever you want to do in Cuba and whatever's going on in Iran and closing borders, you've completely forgotten about locking up the trans community.
Yeah, it's like quitting your job or getting married. There's no good time to start taking trans people out of their homes.
So when Trump's out of office, like 5 years from now, is she still going to be bitching about the trans community and Trump? All right. So anyway, she wakes up every morning scared. I wake up having to pee, but fine. I wake up every morning scared I'm not going to make it to the toilet.
That boner, you got to try to get it down.
Got to try to push it down. Then you get the pickle fork.
Yeah.
And you're pissing all over you're pissing all in the potpourri basket, on the magazine rack. All right, here we go.
I love is trans. And I'm waiting for the day that they start banging on doors and taking our trans and our gay friends and family to concentration camps. And they can't get, our trans friends and family can't get a passport to safely flee this country. And I know that there's nothing you can do about that. But if you could, what would it be?
Well, listen. I'm gay, but I don't have a magic. Applause. All right, pause. This is really, okay, all right, he has one answer only. Ma'am, you must be miserable because you're delusional. You got plenty of things to worry about. This is not one of them. I know you're just grandstanding here trying to sound like a better person because you care more about the trans community and the gay community. By the way, do you have trans friends? You're from fucking Oklahoma and you're 71 years old. How many trans friends do you really have? You meet them down at the feed mart? or is it the tackle store? Where do you meet your trans friends? When you're getting your tractor repaired?
Also, they wouldn't go door to door. You know where they'd go? To the comedy club on a Saturday morning at 11:30, where the drag brunch is happening and mimosas are flowing.
That's where we gather up the trans. And we also got to get the fruit flies, the ones who hover around and support the trans community. So now, what Pete Buttigieg should say is this isn't an issue. You can have plenty of reasons to hate Trump, but go ahead and rest easy, my dear. And if nothing has happened to any of your gay friends by now, I don't think it's gonna happen because he's 5/8 into a session. But let's hear what Pete Buttigieg has to say. Is he going to try to calm her down? Is he going to try to lower the temperature? By the way, if any of this is true, then it is justified to assassinate the person that is planning on doing this.
Sure.
Right.
First of all, it's horrible that you have to even think about that kind of fear.
Because you're a retarded person. Well, listen, I'm worried about demented leprechauns. Isn't that kind of on me?
Sure.
Remember the last time I flew, there was a Noid that was out on the wing chewing on the fuselage.
Yeah, just like William Shatner. I remember that.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
But I'm an insane person. But all right. He doesn't like that she has to live in a world where she's paranoid and a narcissist.
Think about that kind of fear for somebody you care about. And it's horrible that so many Americans live in that kind of fear for themselves and for those they love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't be that way, and it doesn't have to be that way. Because as divisive a wedge issue as that...
Fucking tell her she's not... Could somebody say... Look, ICE is not bursting into your community and terrorizing people. Why is everyone on the left scared all the time? I'm scared for my children. I'm scared for the environment. I'm scared of ICE. I'm scared of cops. You know, the police present, they've made people feel fearful. Like, if you're not a criminal, you're fucking fine.
Yeah.
Cops scare criminals. Not, what about me? I'm black. They mean nothing to you unless you're engaged in crime. What's all the fucking fear? It's all narcissism, but jeez. All right, sorry. This woman is an insane person. Pete Buttigieg is a douche because he could just go, that's not really an issue. Like, I know. Thank you, but no.
Thank you for grandstanding here.
Right, but here we go.
Yeah.
And then the idiots who clap. And these people, average age person is 67 years old. What the fuck happened to old people?
We dealt with all this in Minnesota during the ICE, when it was going on a couple of months ago, and everybody was online going, the thing we need to do is we need to be there for our neighbors, and we need to offer services, and when people need rides, we need to give them. And I'm like, you weren't doing that stuff 2 years ago. So now all of a sudden, no, you guys, all you're doing is you're basically telling everybody you are better than them. That's all you're doing.
When you really go, what is going on? Just think narcissism, and it'll remember my rule. If you start saying to yourself, who's doing that, or why would somebody do that, or who's buying that product? If you just think either black or gay, it'll solve every problem. Like when you see a commercial late night for leasing spinner rims, and you go, who the hell leases car rims? Mm-hmm. You go, oh, black. That'll solve it. Yeah. And then, like, when you hear about stories, like a guy is selling a Scooby-Doo lunch pail online, and it's $3, and he's giving his address and his apartment number, and you're like, who comes to a stranger's apartment in silver, and buys a Scooby-Doo for $3? Oh, gay. Yeah. Black or gay. That'll solve a lot of the mysteries of life.
Tonight on the Game Show Network.
Black. Is it black or is it gay?
Everybody's favorite show.
Black or gay. All right. Quince, well, this time of year always makes me rethink what's in my closet. That's why I keep coming back to Quince. Quince makes high-quality, everyday essentials using premium materials like 100% European linen. Their men's linen pants and shirts are lightweight, breathable, and comfortable. Basically, the perfect layer for spring. And their flow knit activewear, moisture wicking, anti-odor, and soft enough that you'll actually want to wear it all day. The best part, is their prices. They're 50 to 60% less than similar brands because they cut out the middleman. I was wearing their Flowknit Breeze Performance Polo recently, and it is so light and so comfortable. It's Quince, right, Dawson?
Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/ACS for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too. Go to QUINCE.com/ACS for free shipping and a 365-day returns. Quince.com/ACS.
News, here we go. Gavin Newsom has spent roughly a fifth of his second term outside of the state, including on a $2 million memoir promotional tour that has taken him on high-end stays in Miami, New York City, Atlanta, and Las Vegas. The runaway governor has taken 45 out-of-state trips since 2023, which equates to 229 travel days or 2 total months each year as he plots a White House bid in 2028.
I'm always mixed because I'm like, on one hand, of course, he's not doing his job. On the other hand, good.
Nice to have him out of the state.
Nice to have him gone, you know, like a shitty roommate. You know, yeah, I'll do the dishes. I don't care. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know what's that. I mean, first off, I remember like a year and a half ago, he was explaining he wasn't running for president, but I think, like everything, he was just lying.
Actions are a little louder than words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, all right. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has launched a new political action committee designed to do something that he failed to do as a vice presidential candidate and as governor, which is win in rural areas. Walz announced Monday that he was launching a project called Small Town PAC with the goal of wooing rural voters to the Democratic Party. In recent years, Democrats have increasingly lost ground in rural areas, with most of their support coming from major cities.
Yeah, I think they go, well, they kind of do this. They go, well, we don't win with those people because they're a bunch of bumpkin racists. And it's like, no, you pander to black and Hispanic and offer them free shit and then destroy their cities. And these people live rurally, don't condone that. They don't want to underwrite it. It's not a race thing. It's a you thing. And I don't know how they can simultaneously have a policy that the blacks in the inner cities all love and the farmers in Kentucky love, because they're two insanely different people. One is really pragmatic and wants to be left alone by the government. The folks who own land and work the land and fix their own equipment and raise cattle and stuff like that, they want you the fuck out of their life. Mm-hmm. They don't want more of you. They want less of you. It's the poor people who live in your cities who want more of you because they want free buses and free supermarkets and free healthcare. They want free shit. So good fucking luck.
Yeah, as a guy who grew up in northern Minnesota with a lot of miners, like, you know, iron ore miners, these guys have basically over the years have always been Democrat, always, because of unions. Mm-hmm. But they would say things, how they voted and what they were for were always two different things. Guys in northern Minnesota would vote Democrat, but they would say stuff at the bar and be like, you know, if you are going to be getting welfare, you need to get drug tested. Okay, well, that's a specific thing for a certain party, but you're voting opposite. But that's how bad the Democratic Party got in Minnesota, that everybody outside of Rochester, Duluth, and Minneapolis, they only won 9 counties. 9 counties out of 87 in Minnesota.
Wow.
So when you have that's how bad you've screwed up your own party. Guys who still voted for you because of unions just went, we got to jump ship. This is insane. It got to be too much.
Tim seems a little unhinged now. I mean, he's just screaming.
Yeah.
Where was he? In Europe? Where was that speech? Andrew, was he in Spain? Where was he? He just was in Spain. And he was just screaming for everybody to stand up and fight. And it's kind of I've never quite understood it, the rhetoric part where you just get up there and you just start screaming about basic stuff. Like I used to do a bit, or not even a bit, but I would always joke. A million years ago when I was on Loveline, I'd go, listen, you vote for me, and every vote for me is a message sent to the fat cats in Washington, and then I would go home. You know what I mean? And that would be it. Like I would do a whole campaign, and in the commercials, it's always them listening to black people. Like they got their sleeves rolled up a little. They're wearing a tie, but the sleeves rolled up, and there's a black woman talking, and he'd take a picture of me listening to a person I'm not going to do anything for as soon as we're done with this photo op. Like it's now all just listening to black people and sort of universal kind of basic messaging, which is, I don't know why, but it always felt weird and fell flat with me. Like there's something about the participation trophy or even the high school diploma, which is essentially a participation trophy for your high school years, or just even any speech. Like I remember when I was a kid and like the person would come to the classroom and go, every single one of you is special and you all deserve the best. And you all have an inner light. And I don't just look around going, are you fucking nuts? Like, we can't all.
Yeah. If everybody's special, nobody's special. It's like priorities. You got more than 3, you got no priorities.
Right. All right. Here's Tim talking in Spain to some group of partisan people.
We've got a feeble-minded, trigger-happy president who plunged us into a war where no threat was present, with no clear objectives and no exit plan.
Hold on. I do love everyone's description of everything. He just bum stumbled right in Iran. No plan? What's his plan?
Yeah.
He had no plan. And no exit plan, and he had no plan. And
no blueprint.
And I don't know, Iran. I mean, what? Well, listen. You can go, if you'd like to know what his plan is, you can watch on the internet 200,000 hours of him talking about them having nuclear devices and long-range missiles capable of putting those into Europe and the United States. That wouldn't take you that long, Tim. But he had no plan.
Mm-hmm.
He's got nothing. Oh, by the way, Elon Musk, you know what that guy knows?
What's that?
Nothing. He doesn't know nothing.
Dummy.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. You don't know nothing.
Every time I see one of the hundreds of thousands of Teslas on the highway, I go, that guy doesn't know shit.
He didn't build that himself. Somebody else built that car. All right, let me hear the rest of. Sorry, Tim. You don't have to get rid of the clip. I just want to hear it.
If you're wondering what the hell is wrong with Americans,
what's going on?
I hear some version of this every day. Look, I don't really like Trump, and I don't know if he's right, but at least he's willing to try and break things and try and make it better. Now, I know that's dumb as hell, but that's how people are feeling. It's that sentiment that feeds into fascism.
Look at all the people on their phones behind him.
I know.
Looking around, not giving a shit.
Sorry, you had the first clip. You had it. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a threat that we're going to have to contend with, not just in this election, but for years to come. So if we're going to get out of this mess, we have to do more than just push back on all the awful things that people like Donald Trump and like-minded dictators are doing.
All right. Like-minded dictators trying to lower them taxes. Dictators, number one policy for dictators, no tax on tips. That's what I know about. Castro was that way. Mao was that way. Stalin was that way. Go read your history books.
Yeah.
Stalin did not like taxing tips.
Tips on mustaches, no tax on tips.
That's right. Tariff stash. All right. What else?
Canadian judge goes easy on Native man who choked and kicked a toddler, citing colonization. The incidences were captured on a nanny cam, showing the man violently assaulting the defenseless toddler. The judge herself noted the violence.
Oh, herself.
Would likely cause long-term trauma. However, the judge decided that kicking and choking a 28-month-old toddler wasn't that bad, especially since the abuser had a distant indigenous ancestor on his mother's side. Not that he's indigenous, but someone on his mom's side somehow makes it better. So he will be serving 6 months in jail for twice assaulting a toddler and only doing 6 months. And then after that, we'll end up being on probation for about 18 months.
Well, women are much more empathetic. And empathy is fine, but empathy is fine when it's well placed and kind of well calibrated. You can feel sorry for some poor black teen that's in an orange jumpsuit and has shackles on, and look at him. He's so downtrodden and he's upset and he misses his mom. But he killed somebody earlier that week. You know what I mean? And you're just seeing this version. And so there's this empathy thing that men and women share in much different proportions, right? So you go, women are much more likely to kind of go like, oh, don't paddle the kid. He made a mistake. So he made a mistake. He vandalized that school bus, you know. Yeah, but come on. He's crying. He's crying, you know. So they have that gene. Fine. But when you make them judges, you're going to get more of this because they're wired that way. Now, statistically, it's going to be hard to argue with that. You know, there's more pit bull attacks than there are Labrador attacks because that's what the breed is. They're wired for it. And then everyone does this thing where they go, I have a friend who has a pit bull and it's the cuddliest, nicest. Yeah, I know. Of course. You do. But I'm just talking statistically. So they take, Andrew, I just liked a story out of Minnesota. I think it was. It was a female judge and there was like Somali fraudster and they went to trial, and the trial, everyone said guilty. The juror said guilty, and she's like, nah, not doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, they're much higher in the empathy department, so it would stand to reason that when you get liberal female judges, they're going to do this and send a lot of these people back onto the streets because they have empathy for them in the moment. All right, I'll play this clip.
For Abdi Fattah Yusuf, the jury heard evidence that he ran his home health care company, Promise Health, out of a mailbox at a Central Avenue address where multiple other home health care companies were supposedly located. Yusuf and his wife, Lol Ahmed, were charged with stealing $7.2 million of taxpayer money through Medicaid overbilling in a personal care assistant, or PCA, scam. The couple allegedly spent tens of thousands of the fraud money on luxury items for themselves. Despite the jury swiftly convicting Yusuf, Judge Sarah West last week decided they got it wrong.
It's reversing or overturning a jury's verdict.
Defense attorney Joe Tamburino, who's not affiliated with this case, reviewed the decision and analyzed it for KARE 11 News. He says Judge West ruled that the state's case relied heavily on circumstantial evidence and that she believed the state did not rule out other reasonable inferences.
That, in fact, there could have been other reasonable theories other than guilt in this case. That's what it comes down to.
Despite the ruling, even Judge West wrote that she is troubled by the manner in which fraud was able to be perpetuated at Promise Health.
I was stunned.
State Representative Kristen Robbins, chair of the House Fraud Prevention and State Oversight Committee, says she's now reviewing if any state laws need to be tightened.
We want to strengthen state law so that we can get prosecutions out of these cases, because clearly a jury thought he was guilty.
Jurors in the case can't believe the decision.
I am shocked. I'm shocked based off of all of the evidence that was presented to us and the obvious guilt that we saw based off of the said evidence. It was not a difficult decision whatsoever. The deliberation took probably 4 hours at most. Based off of the state's evidence that was presented, I was beyond a reasonable doubt.
The attorney for Mr. Yusuf, Ian Burrell,
said she's a nice lady, and this guy's a poor person from a faraway land, and she didn't want to see him go to jail.
Of course not,
so
no.
She took the jury and just overruled them.
Yeah.
And now that's good because he's just defrauding people. He's not stabbing people on trains. So good news is they're just taking money, but they're not pushing you onto subway tracks or bonking you in the head with a hammer.
Yeah.
But they feel sorry for those people too, and those people end up back on the street as well.
Yeah, well, if the defrauding was happening across the street from her house and there was lines of people that were plugging up traffic and maybe causing potholes and a disruption, then yeah, maybe that guy would do some time. But because it's not in her world, it's awful that they have to feel that way because they think that guys that are on the right wouldn't feel that way. So whatever you're going to feel, I got to feel opposite. You guys would throw the book at this guy, so I can't do that to him.
Yeah, and they basically just think you're the mean one for wanting to get, ICE is the mean one for wanting to get the rapist out of the community who's illegal. They're not the mean one. All right, you got one more?
We got one more. Well, I know that the Home Depot vlogs with the Adam Carolla Show have been going gangbusters all over YouTube. But Adam, you got some competition. We got a brawl that happened at a Home Depot, and it's not going to be who you think it is. Kendo stick.
Is this all black women?
It's all black, not only women, black girls. Black young girls. They're going hacksaw Jim Duggan with the 2x4.
Yeah.
Pulling hair? A Home Depot of all places.
Now what are they doing in the Home Depot? Because these chicks have no business in a Home Depot. Number one.
Well, they fought at all the 7-Elevens, so the last place to go was Home Depot.
Also, it is funny when people get triggered and sort of like almost become animals at a certain point. Like you can't even shut them off. Like they just start screaming and screaming.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Black women need to start going a little more Halle Berry with the hairstyle and a little less Bo Derek, because that shit becomes a handle in a fight. Women, they go right for the hair and they just hang on and they just start beating the person. You got to have a short cropped hairdo if you're going to fight in the black community. Long extensions, that's a liability.
Ask
number
Troy
one.
Polamalu when he's running down the sidelines and he gets yanked by that hair.
Oh, I never laugh harder.
That's great.
Also, you don't use, I think they were using like an 1 3/8 thick dowel material, like that's closet pole stuff.
Yeah.
That's lightweight. You need to get like 4x4 treated.
Of course, treated.
Lumber.
Yeah.
Like you got to think Walking Tall. Sheriff Pusser. Buford T. Puff. Who was in Walking Tall? Buford T. Pusser? Who was that guy? Ended up on a murder rap or something. He had a 2x4. He fought with a 2x4. These guys are fighting with closet pole dowels.
Yeah.
Buford Pusser was Walking Tall, portrayed magnificently by Joe Don Baker, and Buford Pusser, who is the real sheriff, remade with The Rock, by the way. Buford Pusser was the real sheriff. The whole thing was he provided law and order for the town with a 2x4. That was his weapon of choice, was a scrap of framing material from a lumber yard. That's how he fought.
It was from Home Depot, so it wasn't exactly straight, but it was still a good 2x4, you know?
Well, you got to pick through them to get to the good stuff. Buford T, did he end up killing his wife or something insane? He was literally American folk hero for his law and order in his county in Tennessee, and carried a 2x4.
Also a wrestler known as Buford the Bull in the Mid-South.
He was as well.
Yeah. I believe that they also remade this movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yep.
Or I said The Rock.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah. Life and career. What happened at the end? Can you tell us what happened at the end, Dawson? Because I swear to God, he got prison.
In August of 2025, following a 3-year investigation conducted together with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, the local district attorney's office concluded that he has enough evidence that if Buford Pusser were alive today, an indictment could be presented to the McNairy County Grand Jury for their consideration against him for the murder of his wife.
Oh, that's a weird thing. So Andrew writes on my screen, did not go to jail. And I was like, I heard there was evidence where he murdered his wife, but you mean did not go to jail because he was dead, right? That's what that one means, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that'll stop you from going to jail.
6'6" and a 2x4. Man, dudes are pussies nowadays. Oh,
man. Walking tall.
Yeah.
And by the way, he doesn't prefer Pusser as pronunciation of Pusser. Do you understand? Both not flattering, Dawson.
But I call him Pusser.
I'd say Pusser's worse than Pusser. I know, but let's honor the man and his law enforcement career from the grave, shall we?
That's Sophie's choice there, though, right?
Buford T.
Pusser.
Pusser is not flattering.
No.
But like if you're a dermatologist, it would work. But pusser, you don't want for law enforcement because that sounds like pussy.
He could turn you into a pussy. He's a pusser.
Yeah. This is a Dr. Pimple Popper. This goes back to your names that equate to what the guy does for a living. Like a dancer is named Lightfoot.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage.
Yes.
Is that way. Mm-hmm. And let's not forget the great Gene Hackman, who just sounds like a worst actor ever. All right. I am going to be in Las Vegas over at Kimmel's. That'll be May 8th and May 9th. 4 shows over there. Then Covina, the Laugh Factory. We're doing a live pod there. Visalia coming to a theater there. May 15th and then 16th in Modesto. So Fox Theater, State Theater. Go to the merch store. Lots of cool stuff there. Go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. Rudy, what you got?
Tonight, tomorrow, I'll be in Chicago, and then you can catch me this weekend, Arlington Improv in Dallas, Texas, and then check out the website, rudypavichcomedy.com.
All right, and until next time, Adam Carolla for Spencer Pratt and Rudy Pavich saying mahalo.